Hey, good morning. My name is Al, and welcome to Al's Drum Hang. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 things I've learned in about 35 years of drumming. Now, I'm not saying that I know everything about drumming. I'm not saying I'm the best drummer. I'm not saying I am the most professional drummer. What I am saying is these things are things that I've learned through trial and error by making my own dumb mistakes. And also, I see a lot of older, experienced drummers saying pretty much the same things I'm going to tell you today. So I don't think I'm far off base in sharing these 5 things with you, and hopefully you don't have to take an average of 7 years to learn each of these things. The first and most obvious thing that an older drummer will tell a younger drummer is that less is more. Now, when I was a kid, growing up, I was really into drummers with big, expensive, crazy looking drum sets. I had Neil Peart and Alex Van Halen and Nick Mason and all the drummers with the big drum kits. Their drum sets were on my wall, and I set up a lot of drums and a lot of cymbals, and I wanted my drum set to look big and expensive and impressive. As I got older and I started pulling all those drums out on gigs, I found out it's not actually that helpful. It's actually a lot of work. When I was in my 30s and trying to gig a huge Neil Peart sized drum set, I would have to get to the venue an hour to 2 hours before everyone else, drag all this stuff out of my car, and spend about an hour setting it up, and then it might have to be mic'd up. It was too much. My back really hurt. As a matter of fact, that's one of the major reasons I have back issues, is carrying all that stuff. And as far as being one of those bands that can get onto stage quickly and get off stage quickly, forget it. That's just not happening with one of these huge kits unless you're famous and you've got a road crew. Now, Neil did. All these other big drummers, they've got road crews. You, me, not so much. Nowadays, of course, I've got a 4 or 5 piece kit. I've got several cymbals, but a lot of them are 2 to 3 cymbals on a single stand. This actually makes it really quick and easy for me to set up and tear down. So do yourself a favor, keep it small, keep it simple. Leave the Terry Bozzio kits for the guys with armies of roadies. And I'm going to point out, this doesn't just go for our drum sets. I would like to point out too, if you're playing a ton of notes, and a ton of fills and a ton of cymbals, maybe we ought to consider what we're playing and maybe what we shouldn't be playing. As I've gotten older, the thing I found more is that I'm playing fewer notes, I'm playing more grooves, I'm playing more supportive rhythms that serve the song and the other musicians in the band. And I put it to you, maybe less is more in that respect too. The second thing I've learned out of all these years of being a drummer, we've got great gear, we've got cool gear, we've got gear that does all these intricate little things. You know, we've got like triple booms and double pedals with like some sort of crazy diamond encrusted finish on the pedal board. And oh yes, this lacquer finish that was polished with unicorn tears. But nobody cares about your gear except you. Really. Show up with a drum set that will work, that you can play the gig with, that will support the music, and that's pretty much all you need. As a matter of fact, a lot of my professional drum playing has been with a Yamaha Stage Custom. It is like just a beginner drum set, but it sounds good. I can make it do whatever. It's very versatile, and I've recorded with it. I've done all sorts of things with it. Now I have my beautiful Ludwig kit. I'll bring that out everywhere, and people love it. I have my Guru snare drum, which costs over $1,000, but then I've also got this used Ludwig Standard. I've got my Ludwig Black Magic. Those snare drums both cost under $400 to buy, and I got them for less than that. So it doesn't matter how much it costs. What matters is how you play it. And I can guarantee that other than does it sound good or not, your bandmates really won't tell the difference between a $50 drum, a $500 drum, a $5,000 drum. Once it's mic'd up and mixed, I'm pretty certain the audience won't really know the difference either. The third thing I'm going to tell you that I've learned is that being a great drummer is not as important as being a good person. So no, I'm not the best drummer in the world, and I never claim to be, but I do try every time I'm in rehearsal or on stage or in the studio to be the best bandmate that I can be, the most supportive, the guy who's helping out as much as possible. I'm listening to the mix. I'm helping people carry and set up stuff. I'm doing other things besides just playing the drums. I'm considerate of my bandmates, showing up on time, being quick to set up and tear down, not being a basket case, not being a drunk. I like to joke around and keep the mood light, but when it comes to the music, I'm all business. I try and just get us started and get us going and keep us going. Plus, on the side, I do a lot of other things that help the band be successful. Obviously, I do video, I do graphic design, I can write lyrics, I can play music besides the drums to help compose. And then one of my favorite bandmates I've ever been in a band with used to just call up on Saturday mornings, Thursday nights, whenever the urge struck him, just to check in and see how I was. Hey, how are you doing? Or after a gig, he'd call or text and he'd leave an affirming note. Hey man, we really grooved last night. I appreciate you. How cool is it to be in a band situation like that, where you're there with good people that you like to be with, rather than people you can't stand? I submit that we should try and be that good person to be in a band with. The fourth thing I've learned out of all these years of playing drums is about confidence. Now, you may remember I shot a video a while back about how to be a confident drummer. And if you don't remember, hey, the link's right up here. Let's briefly recap the things I said in that video, because they're really important and they were deserving of a video by themselves, but here we go. In order to be a confident drummer, you should know your gear, your songs, your tempo, your bandmates, and your audience. Knowing those 5 things really well will help you to become confident in all playing situations, whether it's live rehearsals or recordings. fifth thing, the last thing, is to just be yourself. And I think this is the most important thing an older drummer can tell a younger drummer, is just be yourself. When people are coming to your shows or watching your videos or listening to your recordings, they are not coming to listen to anybody else. They're not coming to listen to Alex Van Halen or Travis Barker or Neil Peart. They're coming to listen to you and what you have to offer. Be genuine, be yourself. Don't be afraid to throw in those things that make you you. You don't have to be an extrovert to be a successful drummer. And again, look at Neil Peart. He managed it for over 40 years, just being kind of quiet in the background. He wasn't the guy to do a lot of interviews. He was very thoughtful about everything he did. So my point with that is, don't feel that you have to be something that you're not in order to be a successful drummer. I've tried very hard to be the guy I am, which is not all that serious, but really just focused on the band's success and on my personal growth as a drummer. I've spent the last 35 years learning these lessons, and hopefully in the next 35 years, I'll learn a lot more. But I thought it was really important to share those 5 things with you today so that you can continue to learn and grow to be the best drummer you can be. What are your thoughts? Do you have other things that you've learned along the way that you would say are just as important to tell a younger or newer drummer? Drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you. Be sure to like, subscribe, enable notifications, and I'll see you next time on Al's Drum Hang.